Belfast is like my second favorite on that year.
The fact they killed the donkey is something I'll never forgive.
About on the one movie.
Isles
Is that not Belfast?
No, that's
fuck
that's
no.
Isles of Ed Sheeran.
Are you thinking of Banshees of
Or
Yeah.
Banshees of Ed Sheeran. Yeah.
Ed Sheeran or whatever.
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
Yes.
Banshees of Ed Sheeran.
That's why they're all
It's
gingers.
entirely too large.
Yeah, it is.
They'll make better for.
By the way,
can
Joe,
you
we're,
hide it off
we're
screen
playing
for a second?
Caverna
Yes,
later
it's
if you're
so deep.
interested.
Yeah, Jill.
Yeah, Jill.
Yeah, Jill.
Jill.
Fucking Jill, you're invited.
Go, Jill.
Damn it.
But don't slow the game down because we'll start snapping at you.
Yeah.
It's true. We will do
I'm just gonna sit over there at the table just waiting.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm ready.
Alright. If she waits, I'm leaving. I've got DLC I could be playing right now. Anyways, all right.
That'll be there forever.
No, it won't.
Who's taking it
start
from
getting
you?
spoiled.
Dawn Trail.
Well, they're also
yeah.
you know they're nerfing it too.
I know
so,
they're gonna change
you
it
know,
up in a second.
eventually it's gonna be really easy, and then why even play?
I know.
it?
That's my point. I
They're
gotta play it
nerfing
while
the
it's
difficulty?
Yeah.
Already?
they're front.
Complaining about it?
Yeah, no, they huge.
They're
complaining.
front loading the blessing stat early on, so it's
Oh.
more effective as a defensive.
that you
line.
pick up throughout the world.
Yes, the one that makes
Yeah.
you
So
hit stronger and take
one
hits
of
better.
my like 3 gripes with the game is that those blessings.
Uh-huh.
There is an exact number of them, and in order to get fully upgraded,
Uh-huh.
you have to find all of them.
Uh-huh.
And none of them, well, not none of them, there are a lot of them that are very hard to find.
Are they as bad as Korok seeds?
Oh, they're worse.
Ooh.
There is
Blink at the
one,
end?
Yeah.
there
Do
is
you get a
one
guy who
where
does the
you
jingle?
have to like jump off an edge onto like a little lip of a building, and then you follow that around, and then jump down again, and then you like climb up a staircase, and then jump across and into a window.
It's like one of those Call of Duty glitches, like on the map,
Yeah,
where you can
like,
like
it-
camp
it'll
and
feel
like
like
no
that.
one will ever touch you.
It'll feel like that. You'll
Yeah.
feel like this isn't somewhere I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
But that's where one of the things that you have to get all of them in order to like. There's no way anybody's going to be
Looking for
there's
that.
there's going to be people that are going to beat the bosses without any of the blessings or whatever. But any reasonable person is going to need to find all of them, and you can't just naturally find all of them because
You have
they're
to watch videos on
absurdly hard to
YouTube.
find.
Yeah.
They should have had more of them than you needed to max it out.
They did figure that much out with the
Where you had to get 7 out of the 12
the
instead
golden
of like
seeds
8
on
out
that
of
one
the
in
8.
the first one. They were
Yeah.
they were
like
alright.
so why the hell did they not do that this time?
Because they hate you.
Contrary to popular belief, this is not our game cast.
Welcome to the final episode of the season of the F Movie Podcast. We're your hosts, Nathan Mason, Dylan, and especially Price,
Especially.
Special
Yeah.
guest.
Special guest.
who is slowly working his way in the special guest host position.
Yeah.
He's making his way on out.
He's making his way downtown, walking
Walking
fast.
Making my way out of the podcast, making my way to babies.
Yep. So
Just like Caverna.
just
like
Caverna,
Caverna!
yeah, which we'll be playing later. And if you want to see more of that content, let us know in the comments below. But anyways, for this review for the final tale in the season, we are reviewing The Sound of Metal, which
I
Which
think
is a
it
very-
should- no. It's not the. It is
Sound
sound,
of
of metal.
Drop the.
Yeah.
it
drop
does
the
sound
line.
it does sound cleaner. It does sound cleaner. It's just Sound of Metal.
Which apparently is a really like high pitched like tinnitus.
Tinnitus sounding.
Yeah,
sound.
kind of sound.
It can be.
Do any of y'all have tinnitus?
I do
Yeah.
actually. It's the right one and it's miserable.
No, not
So
complete.
I've got a little bit. It's not that noticeable unless
Uh-huh.
like I'm somewhere quite quiet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then you can
mine's
do
the
something.
opposite. If it's lots of voices, it's just like popcorn popping.
But
and
is
like-
this movie about tinnitus? I don't know what it's about.
I was getting there. So,
Oh,
the movie is about Riz Ahmed's character, whose name is eluding me right now, as characters often usually do.
Ah, shit. I don't know.
Oh,
It's something with an R.
Ruben.
Ruben!
Yeah, like the sandwich.
Yeah, Ruben. Ruben, who is a part of a two-person band with his girlfriend,
That are
Lulu.
terrible.
Lou. They start the...
Louise.
Yeah, I
Hold
wondered
on,
at
hold-
the
save
game,
me.
like, are they terrible, or is it just that we're
Is this
hearing
just
it
punk?
through his perspective, and that's why it kind of sounds bad?
You know what? We'll never put it together.
because they
on
were kind of popular, it seems like.
They had a whole tour booked and everything. So,
They were in
anyways,
front of a magazine or two.
yeah,
Yeah.
they had, and like clearly Lulu went on to keep doing
Keep going.
stuff with the
You're
band.
doing great.
So, Anyways, we got Ruben. He starts us off right in the middle of green room, effectively.
Yeah.
And they're jamming. And
They're the band that's playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nazis. Yeah, so anyway, they're jamming. They're playing punk. It sounds as bad as you remembered. And you slowly see him having this little... He has this, like, first 20 minutes of, like, here's our life before I go deaf.
Yeah.
And then, spoiler, he starts to lose his hearing very drastically.
Fast.
Very fast.
Yeah.
In a way that is not totally out of character either, kid. I mean, it happens this fast sometimes as well. So anyways, he starts losing his hearing very rapidly, and we start having these moments where we're put into his perspective, and they're giving you... It's weird to say you can hear him being deaf, but it's putting you in the perspective of what you're kind of, like, perceiving.
Muffled.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
very muffled, very
Big
deep.
boy
You're
muffled.
hearing vibrations, you're hearing that, and you can hear it just going low and lower and lower. And the rest of the movie is pretty much his conflict and coming to terms with him losing his hearing and the sacrifices he has to make along the way.
And
of
whether or not he wants to be a part of the deaf community.
Yes, which is a big middle chunk of the movie. So
Yeah, and I just... First thing I want to chime in on that with this is, does it seem like it was quite abrupt to you all how quickly he went from, like, talking
knowing
with the
any to knowing
doctor to
basic.
knowing and not really, like, having a plan and, like, just trying to, like, fix his problem really quick to suddenly being dropped off at this place and everybody being like, are you comfortable staying here? Can you just stay here? It's like this. It seemed very.
It is weird because
abrupt in
Hector,
its movements.
some
to me.
man named
Yeah.
Hector, was
That was
able
his sponsor.
to get was
Oh,
able to
yeah.
connect these dots together and be like, I've got maybe the perfect place for you. You just have to travel. And I'm kind of with you, where it's just kind of like
It just seems. It seems so strange and sudden.
true.
Do you mean like the fact that the deaf community took him in, or the fact
No.
that
that he just
agreed
ended
to
up
go
there
in?
and
No,
then he
the
stayed
fact
there.
that they even took him there to
Price,
begin
if
with.
you
like,
went deaf
why
right
is-
now-
Yeah, like if you today started going deaf, and Friday, 2 days from now, we're like, okay, we're taking you somewhere,
Yeah.
and
But-
we're taking you to a deaf
I
community.
think,
Also-
I think you missed the whole context of like what the movie's
They're
saying.
missing.
at that
They're
time,
like,
though.
well, they're in a gypsy. Like, they're basically gypsies.
Yeah,
Like,
they
they
are.
don't have any permanent home. They're just kids living on the road, and
doing
like
the
their
Still,
their
like,
whole
that
career
seems
revolves
very
around
abrupt.
sound. Well, what else are they
Doesn't
gonna
it?
do?
No,
I don't know, but I don't think you like within 2 days of somebody be like, I'm losing my hearing, I can't hear anything.
You find a program that fast.
You drop
That's-
them off somewhere. And it's like, here you go.
That's not the abruptness
is what
that
you gotta
hits
do
me in
now.
this film. I think the abruptness, and I get why it does it, is like how quickly he becomes at least a little okay in sign language. But that's not the point. To your point, when we're talking about him going into the like deaf community and leaping into that part makes sense. If he's got a history of addictions, and it's usually people with
that much did make sense.
immediately I'm like, yeah, people with addictions just move. Like they're just going, and if you take off his whole concert tour thing, he had nothing else going on, and this sponsor Hector knew this people over here. That one's like a little bit of a tiny stretch, but at the same time, I'm like, nah. I mean, when you're in the addict community, you meet all sorts of people from different places and different
Oh, yeah.
things. So that's like fairly believable to me in that spectrum of it.
I thought Hector was like their tour manager.
No,
He's a sponsor. That makes a
No.
lot
Yeah.
more sense because he was an addict for years.
They never
ago.
state, but it's very. I got the impression, anyways. It was very clear that
I
it
thought
was
it
a
was a tour
sponsor.
manager, and that's why I was with Nathan. I was like, why the hell would he know of some backwoods
Right.
Alabama?
Because Lou calls Hector after
yeah.
Ruben
He starts
tells
smoking a
her
cigarette,
that
and then
he
he's
was
freaking
Oh,
out.
That's
yeah.
right.
And she's concerned immediately that he's going to relapse, which
Yeah.
is why she calls Hector.
Yeah.
which-
Yeah.
That I mean, and maybe I'm totally wrong on it, but that felt like it painted
Yeah.
it as.
I want to backtrack a little bit because I
Uh-huh.
want to start at the beginning of the movie, which started off on a terrible note for me.
Mhm.
I hate like
The
how
music.
how slow it
The
is.
music.
Besides the music, whatever. But like
Yeah.
it just goes on so long, and you just see them having like the most corny, like
It's
like
teen drama
kinda, like
romance
teen
a little bit.
like teen romance kind of
Oh,
idea
yeah.
of romance.
When he starts the day with like a record playing in the breakfast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
and
dancing.
making breakfast.
It's time for us to dance.
and then you watch them like just dance and like
Did you like that?
and
I liked it.
I liked
Of
it too.
course you did.
I was like, I'm with Nathan.
I was thinking of Mason
You
the
have
whole
to have
time.
some kind of like
Endearing
history and like routine to where it makes sense for her to want this for
Yeah.
him.
But I think it's so much like
Other than
I-
just being a band
I hate.
member.
I have told you all so many times
Man
on this podcast. I hate seeing this over romanticized version of
There
love.
was no
I
over-romanticized.
Yes, it is. They're
No.
hugging, like they're doing the dance, and then they're like, she's like, I'm gonna be a little bit crazy, and he's like,
And
oh
then
my
they're
god.
record store.
Like, just
Yeah.
stop it. Like, love is the small things. Like, realistic, long-term, 4-year love is like having their coffee ready before they get up in the morning. Like, doing the chores or something. And, like, that is what, like, realistic, like, long-term love kind of is.
Doing.
But
Yeah.
you do see later in the movie why they're kind of like that they have very addictive behavior, both of them.
Mhm.
Where, like, they hit these super high highs, but they hit these super
Screeching.
low lows.
And we see both throughout.
And
the
you
film.
see both of them.
What I
which
thought was a little strange
is kind of good.
was like whenever they were traveling to their next gig, like they were talking about some pretty important things that you would think that after 4 years they would have talked about. He was like, yeah, you know, I had never did see my dad. You know, sometimes I think this guy kind of looks like my dad, and
Jeff
and then-
Goldblum could have been my
Yeah,
dad.
and then, like,
I remember thinking in The
yeah,
Fly, I
I
kind
can
of look
see
like.
it.
she's like,
Yeah.
I don't really know if I want kids, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, man, is this just like normal banter, or is this just like the first time that they're maybe just on the road? They're just, you know,
I
just
think-
chit chatting the whole time.
I wonder how much of that is more for like the movie's sake of just giving us like
True.
what couples would talk about after so long of a period
for
of time.
1,600 miles at a
And,
time.
and that they're at this really high point of their relationship
Right.
where, you know, they just want to be with each other all the time, talking to each other, because, like,
Making
that
money.
montage of them traveling, like, they're just talking the whole
Right.
time.
I think to the bigger picture too, it's understanding like who these people are and like how their love's gonna look. Like obviously what you don't like about their inorganic love scene is like very much giving us insight into that they're these very artsy, musician-y people, and I could see people like that going at such a slow pace, even though they've been together for 4 years, they could have not be talking anything serious, you know.
Yeah.
There are people who I'm like, I think they will date until like for 30 years before they
Yeah.
even consider
Until they're
marriage.
50.
And they just aren't taking it that seriously, real like in that, you know, like, oh, we're talking about family, kids, house, and stuff like that. Clearly, they're just happy to make music
Yeah.
together. So
They both found a passion.
I wouldn't be
usually.
surprised if like 4 years into a relationship, they're like, I didn't know you didn't want kids.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just like never came up.
Yeah.
Like we were too busy making music at the time, and like they would only talk about it whenever it became in front of them. That's the impression I've gotten from these two people based on like the info that the movie gives us. But
Talking about impressions, you have Ruben, who
Yes.
handles things with pretty much a sharp-edged hammer. As soon as he starts realizing that his hearing is gone, he is running around.
he's a doer.
Frantically,
He's an
yeah.
addict doer for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I will say like just as like my whole broad stroke on like Riz Ahmed's performance of Ruben as just an addict in general. Wow, he fucking crushed it, man. Like
Yeah,
this
pretty good.
this feels like so many of my cousins. I don't know, like if they were suddenly losing their hearing, I guess. Like it's I think they just chose a really great line on showing an addict, but it's still making them like relatively speaking not a character that feels intolerable to be watching all the time and to be constantly self-sabotaging. Now, there's moments where it's like, all right, there's a little bit of like, especially towards the tail end when he's getting the cochlear implant and you know he's about to be like not a part of this deaf community anymore. That feels like contrary to him. But throughout the film, it doesn't paint him so much as like somebody who's constantly burning his own bridge or constantly like self-sabotaging, constantly doing these things, because that would be a really hard character to have to be focused
That
on.
you would want to win.
That you want to exactly right is that you want him to kind of come out on top with this.
Well, I don't know, just jumping in particular, but like even when he was just trying to fix the house and the guy was like, stop.
There's
like you
nothing
do
to
not
fix
need to
in
do
this
that. Like
yeah.
I need you to just sit down and not do anything.
Roy, yeah, so Roy,
You're just, and even like what's his name? Ruben's character is
Yeah.
just sitting there like, bro, like literally it's just a little fix. Like
yeah.
okay, like fine, I'll just sit there.
I really enjoy the reason why though. Like,
Yeah, I mean
so
it's his
he's
part of
just
his
like
program.
there's nothing here that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
Like, and that's so a universal theme amongst not only the deaf community part, but like how he approaches life there.
Yeah.
Roy, I feel like really stole the show. The
Yeah.
like kind of sponsor guy at the deaf community area.
Oh, he was awesome.
He's great. Yeah. But anyways, we're just kind of like loosely talking about characters. So anyways, he gets over to the deaf community. How's everybody feeling that we're suddenly dropped in deaf world?
Well, you didn't. I mean, we didn't talk about the huge argument.
Oh, we
that,
skipped over the
like,
big fight
like
before
Lou and Ruben splitting up for a little while.
Yeah, actually, slightly before then.
Which was a really hard conversation.
That's
you
all-
go ahead.
There's one moment in specific that really stuck out and I think did really well. It's the first moments where he's in the morning and he's like he's deaf to himself.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to pop his ears and trying to have this moment and it's not going. And I think the movie does such a good job making you feel, at least I felt like, I was like uncomfortable.
Worried,
And
yeah.
good, like with him on this one.
So, what I would say about this and the last movie is, why are we watching real life horror movies back to back?
No, I didn't. That wasn't intentional. The wheel decided. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
I thought the
Yeah.
same thing though. That I was like, Yeah, we really are kind of getting two similar sorts of
like
Yeah.
losing stuff about yourself.
Yeah,
not having
losing
any
your mind,
control.
losing your hearing. It definitely did feel like, man, we're getting reminded of reality this
Yeah.
week. Like, yeah. No, I did think that. I was like, yeah, tonally this feels like kind of similar in some ways to The Father, with some of the like, oh, real life is kind of hard sometimes, bro. I felt this was more uplifting than The Father in parts though, and it felt more fun at least. So.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm gonna get more. I'll admit I'm biased. I'm gonna get more out of this movie because the deaf community stuff and the stuff they cover within that like really appeals to me.
I knew it would.
And I'm allowed
And
that.
the addictive behavior, be like, that's so accurate.
Yeah,
As
listen,
a therapist.
they did. It wasn't even a therapist part. It was just coming from a family of addicts. Where I'm like, that's accurate.
I
I
mean,
think people would do that.
If this movie even halfway convinced you that like it's gonna be okay if
Yeah.
this happens to you, then it's done its job.
Right.
I think that this movie did a pretty darn good job of that. Where you're like,
Mhm.
you always think like, well, you know, if I go blind, like I'm toast. Like if I go deaf, damn, that's gonna suck. a
Yeah, we
lot.
think of it like
that's,
death
you know,
sentences
Yeah,
because of
and you're
like
just
how
like,
much our
man.
life would switch.
Yeah, like
right?
if you lost a leg, like that's catastrophic.
Losing hearing is probably one of the easier ones.
I
think.
agree.
It's
Like,
easy,
I agree,
but it's still hard
but
to
it's a
solve.
handicap. Like you were
Oof.
going to go through it if you happen to
Yeah.
have,
Oh,
know,
yeah.
that happen.
Right. I mean, I'll tell you right now, my job drastically changes unless I get
Well,
wildly more
anybody's-
proficient in sign language.
Anybody,
Right?
I mean,
Never hear music again. Everywhere you go with movies, if there's not subtitles, which, oh my god, now I'm forced to be a
you
subtitle
couldn't watch
guy. That's a whole
Interstellar
different.
or a Tenet or ever.
I wouldn't know what's going on. I would just see vibrating
Oh,
going on. And I
you
would-
would feel it.
You would feel it.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
to be fair, this is where Nolan is peak, actually.
Yeah.
He's here for the deaf community
Yeah, he
more
is.
than anybody else.
Unless your price is subwoofer.
That's true.
Blew it out.
Blew it out just like Ruben's ears.
Damn.
No, but I mean the other parts I just find interesting that I'll just kind of rattle off really quickly. I think that all the sign language was really good. I thought the deaf culture explanations and getting into that stuff was really solid. It's where all the heart of the movie is, in my opinion. We start to see Ruben
Oh my
with the
gosh,
kids and
yeah.
the scene with the kid on the slide, and they're
The
just
little
gonna
punk kid that I thought for sure was gonna get punched directly in the mouth
By
very
Ruben?
soon. Yeah, by anybody.
Right.
He
See,
seemed
to-
like the punk.
See,
Yeah.
to me, that like whole like 30, 45 minute section of him like ingratiating himself into
Yeah.
the deaf community just seemed like a huge detour. Because the movie itself is about Ruben dealing with his addictive behavior and dealing with the fact that he's going deaf. And this whole like part of him like going into the deaf community to me could have just been like maybe a 5-10 minute montage.
There's no
And
way
even
you
that's
can
kind of
cover it.
generous.
If
But
you-
you don't. But it's not needed because
you
he
reduce it or
eventually
cut
turns
it-
his back on it regardless.
He does turn his back, which
Yeah.
I think is supposed to be kind of like the damn. I was really rooting for this guy.
This is the
But
self-destructive.
you
this-
Oh,
can't,
he did.
You
Yeah.
can't learn sign. Like you can't convince me that you can learn sign language in a montage.
Show a calendar
No,
flipping
you
or
can't.
something.
You
I don't
can't.
care.
Like, and I'm not saying this portrayed
Well,
him.
he didn't know it.
learning
You could tell he only needed like the early basic
Sure,
introductory signs.
and I would too if
Yeah.
I was only there for a few months.
And if
whatever
you're,
it is.
and again, when you're learning, when you're in it, you learn it quicker. So
he's
like,
thrown into a 4th grade class.
Yeah.
like
he's
yeah,
learning.
you're-
He's
you're-
learning
you're
basic
past,
English
Yeah,
via sign
you're past
language,
your
right?
peak when it comes to absorbing that stuff.
Mhm.
Anyways,
Anyways,
but I do think
Anyways,
that
yeah.
if as much of a detour, I don't know if it was that much. It was just like a well.
we say a detour, but I think it's the main spot of the
I do
movie.
too.
I
I
really
don't
think
think
it's the
it's-
I mean,
destination.
it's a pretty big bulk of the movie. for
Yeah.
sure.
Just because it's a big bulk of the movie to me doesn't mean it has relevance to the main
Well,
story at large.
if you
Like
wanna-
I'm
the deaf community's cool. Okay.
I'm
what
more on
else
the
are
other
we
end of it.
getting?
I think it's an important thing for him to explore this. I think it's a commentary on of identity, right? We have like him, his whole life up until this point, he's been a musician, he's been an addict, he's
Yeah.
been this, and he gets his hearing ripped away. But it puts him in a situation where not only is he at like an addict home, it gives him this moment to really like reflect: is this who I want to be? Because I think when you're taking that aspect away, and it's using deaf community as like a bubble for him to explore himself as like, listen, you could be somebody else. You could not do this. You don't have to be. You're a musician, and you can find ways to navigate within the deaf community to a degree. But let's talk about how this applies with your addictions as well. I think it's speaking to the same themes.
Do we need over 30 minutes of him like teaching the kids how to drum,
Yeah.
playing tag with the kids?
Yeah,
Like
because I think you take it
No.
away, this movie's way worse.
That I totally agree with that. I
this
think
movie's already hitting the pooper.
Well, that's for one person.
I think,
Anyway.
yeah, I don't know, man. I think that like that just showed growth in a person that, to be
Yeah.
honest, I wasn't rooting for a whole lot.
Right, this-
Until he was actually like drinking the coffee and like doing stuff around the house and being able to connect with like the girl with the tattoo, and like
Huh.
like
I'll say I
wow.
really I enjoyed that scene of
Bush.
John.
Yeah.
Not too much. It's still natural.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
like-
she was like doing like and
Yeah,
smooth, you know.
smooth.
I'm telling you, if the peak cinema freedom writers can do a montage,
That's a
of,
good one.
I'm part of the community and do it really quick.
Don't
this
you bring
movie
Hillary
can.
Swank
No,
into
get
this.
the-
You leave her out.
Okay, so I'll ask you this, Price. If that part of the movie is not where you're hanging with it, if we're getting a little bit into fat thin answers a little bit, we take out that or shrink it.
We shrink
Where are
it
you
by,
putting
We
money
shrink
in?
it by like 20 minutes just to show that like he's learning the language.
Okay.
He's becoming in the community. I don't need 30 minutes.
So
of
you
him,
don't want
like,
anything. You don't want anything more anywhere else. You just want this shrunk.
I want it way shrunk.
No. But is there anything else that gets buffed?
Oh, they guess I got no. This
Like at
movie's
the end or anything?
this movie's way too long in the first place. It's over. It's 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
2
one of
hours.
those ones where it was halfway in. Like, I checked the time and it was halfway in, and I was like, oh man, where else is this movie gonna go?
Yeah.
And
Right.
it doesn't go very far.
Alright,
They
well,
go to Paris.
We'll spoil our answers anywhere from chubby
Or-
to fat, effectively. No worry, we got a new segment for fat thin. But anyways, just for
It's
this
not
one
for this,
episode.
it's something totally different.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll go to my way to say that, like, yeah, as soon as they leave the deaf camp or deaf community, and he gets kicked out from Roy, and he goes out and he ends up in Europe.
That's like when it feels like the movie
When
picks
it's
back up.
when it's kind of in Act 3, see,
Well-
you say that, but I'm like,
But at the same time,
we should have a
but
resolution
at the same
quicker.
time, my favorite scene of the movie was him telling his
Roy.
Roy,
Oh yeah,
was
the
telling
final
him
table
like,
scene.
Like- I'm
hey,
kidding.
like I'm gonna leave and like I need money.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, like even though that was my favorite, I was like, they're trying to like to me say this movie that he's like like his
He's
addictive.
still back to addiction.
His addictive
Yeah.
personality is like latching on to different things, and it's latching on to this idea that he like sound is his addiction.
Mhm.
Because at the end, after he sells his RV and everything, he's like, "Hey, by the way, I'm leaving," and like, "Hey, can you like give me just a little bit of money? I
Yeah.
need,
Yeah, just tweak it.
I,
you
I
know,
need,
Right.
I
yeah.
need like
I'll
just
pay
a
you
little
back.
bit.
My
I'll get
girlfriend's
you back
got more money than you could possibly fathom,
Yeah.
which is all such a like addict story. And we
Her
later
dad's
find
like
out
the
it's
Prince of
actually true.
Egypt or something. I don't know.
He's like Prince
I'll
of
pay
France.
back.
Like, he's not even Egypt.
but he lives in France.
Yeah, he lives in France.
No.
You know.
Anyways,
No, I do love that it actually ended up being true that her dad is actually very
Well,
wealthy. Like,
I also
but-
think it's funny that he made like they had that whole scene with him making a deal with the guy that buys the RV.
Yeah.
and then it just doesn't
Nothing
work.
it
happens.
never happens. Never comes through for fruition on that one. Yeah.
Like, he thought he could set himself up to get it back, and it
What?
just
But so
doesn't
stupid.
happen.
Like, where did he think he was going to get that money so quick?
You're-
He had to sell all of his worldly possessions.
You're getting it. Where did he think? That's
The
you're
addict
assuming
in
this
him.
character is thinking.
The
and
addict
This is
in
addict
him,
brain
yeah.
going boom boom. Listen, I'll just kind of create up a loose plan. Oh, don't worry about it. I'll figure it out later.
which
Every
can
bit of this
also-
movie is that.
it can-
It's just like fix
Yeah.
things right now.
Yes.
Like fix the right now and
Yeah.
the other problem.
We'll figure out the
will happen.
will
consequences
come on
later. Right.
And also,
Yeah.
I mean, there could be an argument for the very, very, very end of this movie where we could take this thing any which way. It's obviously left open to perspective, but
Yeah.
you could sit there and say
just like
he
Inception.
corrects himself, or he goes right back into the lifestyle. You know, does he go back to Lou? Does he not? You
Yeah.
know?
There's
Does he go back to the deaf community? Does he not? You
the,
know.
the ending on the very very ending, which I don't want to speak to just yet. Like I think I enjoyed the like the veil, like the very last like minute or so. But the Act 3, so to speak, is if we're
Mhm.
considering like deaf community as Act 2.
Oh yeah.
Then Act 3, this one lingers for a while. And like I enjoyed
Yeah.
him meeting Dad. That
The
was
dad
kinda
was cool.
Still
Yeah,
long.
the
breakfast
first
scene.
the opening scene I thought with Dad was good.
Still long though.
Afterwards, I'm with you on this. Like
A
the
lot of history there.
I'll say that I enjoy a lot of my time with this movie, but Act 3 is like what makes the movie very chubby to me. I wouldn't go full blown fat, but the chubby part for me is that like for a while I remember thinking, where are we going? Like, and then Act 3 I'm like, what are we doing here? And I'm like, alright, so he's meeting up with Lou. Is he gonna have a guy with her? That's gonna be dumb. And I will credit where credit's due. This movie never takes the easy cop out. It never felt like it was gonna
It
take the
definitely
right.
doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't have the like she's cleanly moved on.
no, yeah, because I
Kinda
felt like that's
thing.
what it was kind of baiting
Yeah.
us with. Where,
Yeah,
and I-
like
yeah.
Or she's
whenever
wildly
the
successful.
first person to meet your character upon like catching back up to his life
Yes.
is the dad, and the dad's being like, well, does she know that you're here?
I know, I'm
it's
like-
it is setting all the pins up to
You
knock
see the
out-
field goal getting cued.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's just like, oh, hey, Rube. And
Hey,
then
I'm really glad to see you. Like,
Yeah.
you look so good. Did
and she
everything go
looks so
okay?
healthy after
Oh, yeah.
ruining like a whole kingdom in another show in the future.
And she's
like,
got-
And not bleaching
And they
her
brought
eyebrows.
and they brought her eyebrows back. I was
Yeah.
like, wow, I didn't realize eyebrows made that big of a difference.
I told you,
Cause-
Miriam,
when you,
off screen,
when
I
you
was
know, you know.
I was like,
yeah.
as a musician, like, there's so many different styles you can go after, right? You
Yeah.
got piercings, you can dye your hair something
But the
crazy, you
eyebrow
can have, like, just
losing-
tattoos, you can do... I was like,
Yeah,
eyebrows is
she
such a
had
weird...
something on her
Yeah,
arms.
she was all cut from
yeah.
a self farm.
That's true, but that wasn't a style, that was, you know... But
That
anyway,
was-
no, she did it for
Stylistic
punk.
choice.
Yeah.
Definitely not mental health issues, guys.
Yeah.
No, I.
but you're right, the end of this movie is definitely strange, but I do think it's just because it takes you into places where you're not, again, expecting, and it does leave you open at the very
A
end.
little bit to the point for me where I was like, I would have liked something a little bit more constructive. Not necessarily
Clean.
predictable. I didn't need it to be more conflict, but I would have been okay if it was like, so now what? And then the last couple minutes
was
is
a-
him at the park.
It was a bit conflicting.
Well, I
Yeah.
feel like it's really just setting up the idea of like the world that he's trying to return to isn't one that he can fit into.
Yeah.
It isn't there anymore
because his moment of being able to say like, we can just get right back into it. We can get back into Lou being
Well,
like, no.
he couldn't
Like, that's
stand
not-
in the middle of a room without like this thing just blaring like random noise. Like,
Yeah.
Like even when she was singing French, sounded gorgeous to us, but then
Mhm.
like even in his perspective, he couldn't have said 3 words that she had said because
No.
it was overpowered by whistling and
all like
tinnitus noise.
all
you
the
know.
coherent like static impulse.
Yeah,
like,
the
was
static.
like,
Which I got really annoyed by that point of the movie where after
I knew you were gonna
they
get
do
annoyed by
the
this,
implants and like so much like I would say like after the implants there's maybe like 40 minutes left of the movie. It feels like 15 of those
Maybe.
minutes are like the sound like him listening to the world through that lens.
I
And I'm
agree.
like, okay,
He's going through the city with
we
him.
need like
Yeah.
maybe 5 minutes of this,
Yeah.
and then like you can just show him looking lost, and I'm like, oh, like I know what he's hearing.
Were you
But it's
feeling...
like the director's like, come on, you
Well,
know he's
so
sad.
were you feeling
know
the
he's
same
sad.
way at the beginning when like he had lost it and you were supposed to feel lost? Like the
Oh,
doctor,
you're
for
so-
instance, like the volume was all the way down to 0 and you
Right.
could just hear the doctor being like, and you were like, I can't even understand what he's saying.
right.
They did that a lot.
Yeah, which I got really sick.
Okay, I was
of.
There's a
gonna
lot of
say.
moments of total silence. Like
Yeah.
during
Yeah.
this movie, one of the things I was thinking was like, did this air in theaters?
Ooh.
Like that would be such a.
Sure.
It
I don't know what
No, it was
what a
Oscar run. It had to be
theatrical
Oscar
audience would
yeah.
think
It was
of
Amazon.
sitting in the theater in
Silence.
actual silence for
No, but
like
it still would have had a
extended
2-week
periods
run
of
to be
time.
an Oscar
Yeah.
nomination. That was,
You think?
Yeah.
Hey,
That's
let
probably
Nathan
part of it.
finish.
I'm listening. Yeah.
I can't hear Nathan.
Well, that's
You
good.
couldn't
You're
hear shit
welcome
in
to the
this
movie. You
movie.
couldn't hear shit in this movie either. Anyways, I didn't hear a thing Nathan said, but that's on brand for this
God
movie review.
bless.
So
Enjoy this, Nathan.
no, we'll be a lot more concise.
How
with...
about I leave and you
No.
Yeah, here we go.
Nah.
It's your house.
Yeah, we
Where are
literally
gonna
come
go?
here. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
No, but I mean, getting back to the ending, if you guys want to
Yeah.
jump into that,
We'll
like,
cue out on that one.
I mean, after he leaves the deaf community, Roy, is it?
Uh-huh.
He makes it very clear that, like, this is a very,
This is
big choice that he's making, and
Yeah.
you cannot, you got to leave today, even.
right.
And then he hightails it out of there, whatever, which I think he's just, I don't know. That was obviously a big choice, but
Mm-hmm.
I think at the very end, it is being left open because there's an option for him to come back. Or he's thinking about trying to
Well,
go back and do something.
Well,
Yeah.
you skipped over like a really important scene, which is
bed,
Lou and
yeah.
Ruben making out about to sleep together. Finally,
The drinking water scene is a little weird.
oh,
that part's weird.
I love
I forgot
that.
about that.
It's like natural, but it's a
like
strange
that
scene.
is real. Like
Yeah.
that is real. Like she's not in the mood,
Thank
but
God
she's
Bryce it only lasted
but
like
she's
4
not-
seconds.
Yeah.
but she's
Screaming
not
about
she's
it.
not gonna like she's not feeling it, but she doesn't want to tell him.
Yeah.
But like to break the mood, she like does that, and then she does that
a little
subconscious.
a little something.
like
here.
she goes like this or something on her scars.
Well, as he's like talking about getting everything
Yeah.
back together, and she's like
Talk about the
referencing-
director, like yeah,
Yeah.
you know it's not good, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then that's when like Ruben's like, oh, this isn't good for either of us.
Which I think that was very necessary because then you
Yeah.
kind of
You have to see what are they gonna do afterwards.
Yeah.
They have to give some sort of like
Ruben's
closure.
not that much of an idiot where he's like, oh, she totally bought in all this,
Right.
You know, like anyways.
Yeah, but for them to telegraph the like this isn't good for us kind of thing, it's kind of like
I think it's fine.
hitting a hammer with a blunt fist or whatever
Like I
you
think
say.
I think
I've never said that.
I don't know. It's
Hit a
some
hammer
saying.
with a blunt fist.
It's like hitting
That
a
would hurt.
blunt nail
Can
with
that just
a
be the
fi-
cover
No,
of this
it's
episode?
something
Black and white
like
text
that.
with Price.
It's like over like making a small point with like a big
Like
tool.
beating you over
Yeah.
the head.
Yeah, but-
beating you
with
over the
the
head.
foot.
Yes,
with
Yeah.
bleached
Thank you.
brows.
Yeah, exactly. But they weren't bleached at this time. She was looking great.
Yeah, Olivia
She was-
Cook with eyebrows is better than Olivia Cook with blonde eyebrows, or no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a choice.
Yeah.
All right, so
Anyway.
to finish it off, at the end of the movie, he goes and just like goes out
Packs
into the
his bags
city.
again.
Yeah.
He goes out to the city, is overwhelmed by the noise. The bells start going off. Then he just takes his implants off and just listens to silence, and
He
then
just
the movie
vibes.
ends.
Yeah.
So my question is, what do you all think he does after that?
I still think he continues to have cochlear implants and becomes a part of it, but I think the
Of
movie.
of the deaf community?
No, I think he still like becomes hard of hearing. Right, this is where the hard of hearing term comes
Yeah.
for them. Like,
He spent 40+ thousand on these things. I don't
Yeah.
think he gets rid of them, and I think he does get back with Lou.
right. I think that he literally just
It's-
commits to this.
Yeah, but he has
But-
to turn his leaf where he's like,
Yeah.
I have to bend here. I have to completely almost break because like we can't do this whole screaming into a mic thing. For,
I think it gives him a moment of sitting here and saying like, oh, maybe I should have slowed down and appreciate maybe what I had with
Yeah.
it. Because
Oh.
again, the peace of mind that he gets in this movie is just like, wow, I'm finding more peace in deafness than I am with
The two teen romance people have one view, and I
Yeah.
bet you and I are on the same page.
All right, Nathan, what's your take? What's this mean for him at the end of the movie?
Honestly, I don't know what he really does after that. Like,
Cocaine.
packs his
it
bag.
does seem like
Yeah. Well, he
Oh,
can't live there.
like
I mean, he's got to find someplace to live.
That was
right?
one
maybe,
night,
maybe
though.
he does
Yeah.
try and return to the deaf community or something, because to me, like, that a whole lot of the end of that was him just realizing like he doesn't fit into the world in the same way anymore,
Mhm.
and realizing like he was having a better time in the deaf community.
See, well, I
For
guess
a few
I guess
months.
I'm a lot more negative than you. I thought he was
you
just
think he just
gonna-
fucking commits
I
suicide
thought-
on,
yeah.
the, on the
I
I
sidewalk?
thought that's
Just
what
leaps
he was
off
gonna
the
do.
seat, like-
Because his whole time with the deaf community, he's like, okay, like I'm only doing this short term so I can get back into the real world with my girlfriend. Like I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get back to her. And then he's like, I don't like need this.
But after
think
you've
it's okay.
had that moment where you've gotten back where you think you wanted to be, don't you think somebody might be somewhat introspective of like what they were doing before then, thinking like maybe I was
I don't know, maybe not
negligent
someone with that
of
addictive
the-
I think it's
personality.
for him. It's gonna. To your point, I think you're painting him as he's always gonna look at the grass is greener on the other side, right? Like as soon as he walks to the other side of the hill, he's gonna be like, "Oh,
You
deaf community was better." And then he goes over there, he's like, "I miss Lou."
You think he's on WebMD at the very end, like, there's got to be better implants in this.
Yeah,
like, you know,
surely
it's like,
I
I can get
got
more
the
thousands.
I just
of
got the
dollars.
cheap ones.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
right,
Let me sell these and I'll upgrade and I'll get maybe.
Uh-huh.
I
See,
don't
I see
know.
it as like he's put his whole life around this purpose. Then his girlfriend he realizes like we can't be together, and that was like his whole purpose for living.
Yeah.
See, I don't even take it that they
That's
like
it.
are breaking up at the end. Like
I
you
don't
you
either.
take that message from that, and I get the impression that she's like upset because she's like, we can't do
Can't
that
do that.
anymore. Our life is not going to be
That's
that
gone
anymore.
now.
And I think she's more upset with this idea that she's like, we have to adjust to like what our life really is. You're not capable of drumming. I'm not going to be a one-person act, and
I
I
look
can do
different.
singing another way.
Yeah.
Right. It-
I'm hot now.
Right.
I'm a little bit cuter.
I'm gonna go
That's
rule a kingdom in a show here soon. So let me be clear. You're only. I don't get the impression at all. Like you're on the fan camp theory of like, oh, they just break up and his life is nothing at the end. I'm like, no, I think they're still together. I just think that she's upset that their life is now drastically different because, frankly, of his like sudden.
Seemed like a goodbye hug to me.
Yeah,
Well, the bag is what got me. I was like, shit, maybe.
that just makes sense to me. The French dad seems like the kind of guy to be like, but you can't live here.
Yeah,
like,
you can stay tonight, but you
Yeah,
gotta get out
but
in the
you
morning.
can't.
Maybe I don't know. I
yeah.
feel like he was leaving.
Right, and addicts are just like, well, I don't live here. I gotta go.
Yeah.
I live in a bag, so. This is supposed to storm.
That's what I was looking at. I was supposed to
Supposed to.
look at the weather.
It's coming down.
It's getting rowdy out here. Anyways,
scores.
so before scores,
This is something unrelated. We need to do this at the end.
this is the end now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, never mind. We're going right into scores.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
already said it's fat.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a
me and
little-
Mason said chubby.
I was gonna say it's a little chubby,
It's a little
maybe.
chubby,
I appreciate it for its chubbiness, but yeah.
Yeah.
Heavy rain.
Price.
Jason, I got really upset when I watched this on Prime Video, and it said the top recommended movie was Whiplash. And I got
Bro, they're the same movie.
I got so mad at that. I was like, to compare this hunk of actual garbage to that absolute pinnacle of cinema is
Damn.
absurd to
I'll
me.
just give him
Like
one.
nothing about this movie.
Go ahead. We're
Nothing about this movie is subtle. I mean, I think the acting is fine, but like whatever. I don't really care. I don't care if the acting's that great. If I don't care about any of the characters, I don't care about the story. I don't care about seeing this addictive personality. I don't care to see him meander for 40 minutes in the deaf community. Like, look how close I am with the kids. Like, watch me dance with them. Watch me teach them drums. I don't care. That's not what this, like, I felt like the plot was about, and it felt like it just meandered around, and it kept doing the deaf sounds all the time where you didn't hear anything. I got it the first time. I understood Inception when I was younger. I can get this stuff in movies. That was a joke. Okay, I thought that.
No,
yeah.
it's not.
I like Foxcatcher. Does that
Nah,
matter?
now you're
Okay.
I can't wait.
Why,
Yeah, you know what? This is as good as your last episode.
Just burn every bridge.
Right.
Yeah, this movie
He's
was.
rubining.
It
Also,
wa-
Jurassic Park sucks.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It
It had
wasn't.
its time.
It wasn't fun. Like, it wasn't enjoyable to watch. I didn't learn anything. It didn't put anything in perspective for me. Like, I feel like that's what this movie was to do, was to say, like, hey, if you're going through this kind of thing, like this could be how it goes. And like, oh, well, that I could be learned, kind of like The Father, where it gives you more perspective on what it's like to have dementia and live with someone with dementia. I don't feel like this movie does that. And it's really bad time, well, kind of good timing that we watched this right after The Father, because they do similar things like we said earlier, and it just, like, The Father makes us realize that The Father is like doing great and running sprints, while this is just a baby toddler falling on its face listening to nothing. And I did not like this movie, but it's still too long. I'll give it a 2.5. I don't know why.
That makes the list.
I don't know why, but it's
I already know now what this is. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, but 2.5. I don't know why I'm not going lower. Just it doesn't feel right for some reason.
I guess I'll go next.
Sure.
I'm gonna hit this with a pretty low score too. It just wasn't. It wasn't for me. Like, I mean, I get that there's some interesting things that it was doing. It spent too long trying to do any of it. I was very bored with this movie and
Yep.
was not in for pretty much any of it. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's probably some aspects of like not really relating to much of any of it to really like find it that compelling. Like, I can understand everything that's going on in it, but not really care for the story overall. And that's kind of where I landed with it. So I think I'm probably just gonna give it a 4.
Gotcha. I think the reason I appreciate this movie more so than like a lot of these other like AA type movies or like, you know, Addicts and, you know, whatever it is because I think that while Price says that the director is spoon feeding it to you, I think that he is just kind of giving it to you, maybe presenting it in a certain way, but
In a baby puree pile with a little plastic spoon.
For instance, we were watching it, right, and Miriam at some point was like, man, I'm going to need some subtitles pretty soon because I can't understand what these people are signing, like, towards the first third of the movie.
Mhm.
And I
The
was like,
subtitles don't even pick it up.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. So you're
subtitles
supposed to
don't.
be
Which is
lost.
good.
I don't think you're supposed
You're
to.
not
Yeah,
supposed
right.
to.
Which is
You're
good.
supposed to be
Yeah.
lost. And
Yeah.
same thing with the doctor. Whenever he has his headphones on, he's like trying to mouth words and he's having him repeat himself. I think that this movie does a very good job of those things where you are being put into the shoes of Ruben. And now, granted, you might not be an aggressive addict like Ruben, but you are supposed to be fighting.
Am I not?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you might be the closest dude on this couch
Yeah.
to that.
I've seen your card collection.
Yeah.
You're close.
Yeah, I've seen you at tournaments. It's not
a-
pretty.
It's not a problem. It's a solution.
But I
Addicts.
think at the end of the day, this movie might be a little bit long, but it did hold my attention just because of it. I like the open face ending. It kind of gives you some hope for this character that was not really ever on the right path, really.
I
to
felt like
begin
there was
with.
no hope.
I'm gonna give
Yeah,
it.
you thought he kills himself at the end.
Yeah, you were better off killing yourself. Says
Yeah.
Bryce.
Uh-huh.
All right, yeah, I give it an 8. I think it's pretty solid. It is a little bit too chubby for a recommendation. This
You
is-
put it on the wheel. That's a recommendation.
No, Dylan.
Ah,
I've seen
dang
it
it.
before. But
Yeah,
yes.
this was a Dylan pick all day.
Yeah.
This was a Dylan
Oh,
Blind pick
yeah.
at that too.
Yeah,
so.
you said you hadn't seen it.
I hadn't seen it.
All right, hit us.
Yes.
The movie's a little too lengthy. The third act kind of meanders around for a little bit in ways that it's like it starts good and it ends good, but Act 3 Like Act 3, it starts good and ends good. The middle, I'm kind of like, what the fuck are we doing anymore? Which is not a great feeling in a movie for me.
That's why I checked the time on it. It was
yeah.
like, oh, we're halfway through.
I'm
and I don't
definitely
know
not-
What the hell?
And it didn't feel like
I don't
Where's
fault-
where's he gonna go here?
I'm not faulting anybody on checking the time on this one. This one is like
It's a little slow.
It's a time checker. The first part, I think, stayed as long as it needed to, which is good because I think that a funny thing is like seeing the chemistry and like the quirky like teen drama love. I'm like, nah, I fuck with this. This is fine. Like, but if it had kept going on for like another like 15 minutes, I'd be like,
Of course.
we need somebody to start suffering now. You know what I mean?
Someone
Like,
needs to be punched.
I need some misery here
Me,
soon.
Earl, and the Dying Girl.
Yeah.
Hey, but it was
I-
opposite
Me,
role.
that-
Yeah, but it was
yeah.
just
She wasn't cancer.
the one. Ah.
Wait, she's the girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Olivia Cook is also playing that character.
Oh.
Full
Hey,
circle.
to be honest, that was the second movie picked in this entire club.
That's
and how
true.
full circle is it?
Oh,
that
Yeah,
we
that you're
finished
seeing it
off
on the way
her?
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
That's a shame.
Overall, though, and she made it out.
She did.
Yeah, she made it out.
She did. She made it out.
She's doing
Yeah.
great.
She's, she's thriving.
Did you see her eyebrows?
Yeah, she looks so healthy by the
Big
end of this
upgrade.
movie. No, but I did think it was fun just being like watching the first 5 minutes and being like, lol, green room, okay.
Yeah.
Where's the dogs? Like, and
Yeah.
then the movie definitely goes back into it. But I found a lot of heart in this movie, especially in the deaf community stuff. It's not a remote surprise, I think, to anybody here, knowing how much I've spent in sign language and deaf community stuff. That this is like, yeah, that hits for me.
Say my name in sign language.
You have to have a nickname. His was Owl.
I love that they point out that sign names are a part of the
Yeah.
whole thing as well, because that's something that gets given to you.
Yeah,
as a-
because you can't like.
yeah, you're not going to
letter
spell out
your
your name every
entire
single
name.
time. Your name is just Price.
Hey, yours
Finger
would be this
spelled.
price.
Yeah. Yours would be.
Yeah. Egghead.
Yeah. If,
So
if,
he's mastermind or what?
There we go.
Megamind.
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 Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
Oh, I'll
yeah.
take
Oh,
that.
blue boy.
if
I'll
I
take Jimmy Neutron. That
if
would-
I knew like the sign for like autism off the cuff of the head,
man.
or like ego or something like that, I would.
Ego. Tell
Yeah,
tell
so
me
Hey,
anyway.
esoteric. How do you say esoteric?
Esoteric, yes. If I knew that one, trust me, it would just be the P version of that sign. Anyways,
buffet of bland.
no. So all the middle part is like where I'm like in love with this movie. I had such a great time with it. I think all the characters are really charming. Roy is great. I love that the little dynamic they have going on. The talk where he's just like he gives Ruben this assignment to go upstairs and write and do that. And he's like, and if you're struggling with this, you can come over to my apartment and you're gonna see me doing the same thing.
And he's not a pushover either.
No.
Which is nice.
Dude,
Yeah, you
dude's
can't
got
be
a
in
hard
that.
ass.
You can't be a
Yeah,
And he has
and,
a
you,
program.
and you could tell it was hurting him
right
to
like
push him out.
to have to and I
Yeah.
genuinely think the subtleness and all of Roy's performance is like criminally underrated. Something I maybe didn't need to talk enough in the review was seeing like that duality in specific and seeing him not only just be great with the sign language but great with the acting, but also just like the subtlety of being like, I hate that we're losing you because you've become so integrated into this community and you've serving this purpose, you're doing all these great
We saw it
things.
for 45 minutes.
Yeah, and you know what? That could have been the whole movie for me. Like, honestly, you could maybe shrink the tail ends and make this the movie.
His name's Joe, by the way.
That's gonna. I thought it was
Roy,
Joey
Joe,
or Joe.
yeah, it's
And you
3
said
letters.
Roy.
Joe Mama.
It's a 1-syllable one. He
Yeah.
got you. He got you.
Joe Mama.
Joe Mama.
Me?
Anyway.
You got me?
Just you. Hopped right over me, went to you. Anyways, but the ending overall, especially the last scene in general, I like an open-ended scene, but I also like that. For me, it just felt like it was like, wow, look at the peace of mind he gets from switching between these worlds. I thought that was done really well, and overall, I enjoyed my time with it throughout. I'm just a smidge less hot on it than Mason. It's a 7.5 for me on this one.
Okay.
Mostly because it's just the third act really kind of like dragged in a way that I didn't love, even if it does have a good start with the dad meet and then a good end with the scene at the bell tower. But the middle part in between there is a little weird. The fact that he thinks that they like broke up and that he's committing suicide does leave some for interesting ambiguity here. But
I definitely feel like they broke up. Like, I'm pretty adamant on that.
let us
The
know in the comments
suicide
below.
note,
Do you think they broke up? I'm curious on this one.
that was a goodbye hug.
Anyways,
They probably had a lot of those, to be honest.
yeah, they probably
Probably went through that a lot.
They probably
That's a
done
fair
this more
point.
than once. So before we
Do we
close
need
out the
to
episode,
clip this, or
no.
before
Before
we
we
doing this now?
we're doing it right now.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this is going to be the biggest one of these next 6 little things. Price,
Yeah.
I'm going to hand this to you.
Okay.
Oh.
1 through 12, buddy.
1 through 12.
1 through 12. So what I'm going to do, and
Okay.
we've maybe mentioned this from time to time at the end of our things, but
Okay.
Price has a pretty exaggerative scoring range.
Well,
Whether
me
they
and
be
Mason have-
zeros, 2.5s, or 9.5s. Like
Yeah.
they're just
-3. He's
Yeah,
waiting to get to
-3.
negatives.
We're waiting in on
I
it.
Yeah, I
know.
mean, it would be funny to wait. Didn't you give something a negative?
I gave him a 1 on Birdemic
On
just
Birdemic,
because there
it's
was
not a movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
There was a rising action. There's a climax. There's
They didn't even climax once.
Yeah.
he did when he saw her feet, or when they
No.
play with each other's
Oh
feet.
man.
No.
Alright, so what we're gonna do,
Anyway,
we're gonna
okay.
make Price
Oh, I love that
score
movie.
his 2.5s, his 2s, his 1.5s, his 1s, his 0.5s, and his 0s. He is going to rank them in each category.
So this is like the highest one I scored.
Yes, this is
This
your
is my
favorites.
lowest.
This is your
Favorites versus least
of the
favorite
2.5s.
of your bad movie picks.
This is the biggest one. It's kind of sucks.
I have that many 2.5.
You got a lot.
yeah.
And you had another one on this one because
You know
Sound of
what?
Metal is.
I would love to see the stats on it from the past season. How many of them have been this
Like,
past season?
how many more? How much more common?
Oh,
Yeah.
it was
Because he
bad.
said
Yeah,
there
this
was one
one.
review in specific. He said, "You know what? I'm just here now." And then he started grading them all at 2s and 1s.
All right.
His 2s and 1s were the baseline for
You
movies.
have In Bruges, 8th grade, Zardos.
Wait,
Hold on,
oh
you
my
can't
god.
write that fast. Look at this man. He barely knows how to write.
grade.
Zardos.
The way he
God.
writes.
Zardos is a banger.
I know Nathan.
Flipped? I don't even remember
Flipped.
that.
It's
The
that
big
gnarled
the big-
tree.
The gnarled
The
tree.
gnarled tree. You remember
Brokeback
that?
Mountain.
Uh
Sucker Punch.
Wait, you
Hold on,
gotta
just
give
like
me a
you
second.
Whoa, sucker punch.
huh.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
See.
Imagine me with
Okay.
Flipped.
Imagine,
Muppets Christmas.
imagine us with Annihilation on this one.
Okay.
Queen of the Damned. You missed that one.
Annihilation.
Okay.
KD.
Glass. What is it?
Queen of the Damned.
Queen of the Damned.
Glass
Oh.
again?
Yeah.
Glass.
Oh, that
Raging
was
Bull.
pretty terrible. Oh.
Yeah.
Raging Bull? Oh,
and
man.
Queen of the Damned. So I didn't
And
mean to
Annihilation.
forget you. Yeah, he did that one.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
also this movie.
I can't read your shit, but Annihilation is in there if it's not.
Yeah, Annihilation's in
And
there.
then
Okay.
this movie, which is
Oh, and Sound of Metal.
Sound of
Oh.
Metal.
Yeah, whatever we
Alright,
just
so
reviewed.
in your best way, which you don't have to write all those down, give us your favorites. All the way
So
down to
my
your
favorite
least favorites.
2.5's up here.
Yes.
Yes, so this is like what you think is the
God,
best,
all
right?
of
The-
these.
No, so they get a lot better.
Well, not
after
just
this. There's only
critically,
like
but-
6 at most on all
Okay.
these other ones.
Okay, yeah.
Or 5 or 2.
The fact 5 zeros.
There's so many zeros.
so-
I know.
Yes,
And I will riot.
on the 0.5s?
Yes.
Oh my god.
I like
My
this.
bottom ones are.
Or
I got
dog
that. I got
shit.
those pretty easy.
Oh, thanks for.
I tell you what, you
Uh-uh.
all you all can guess like
You
while,
really think
while I'm doing this.
This one is the bottom of
So
your
we're
2.5s.
guessing which one. What do you think
I'm only
his
gonna guess top
favorite
3.
worst of this category is?
I can't see the bottom. I already saw the first
Yeah,
one.
I saw the
Bottom two
first
at the
bottom too.
The top, hold on. Okay, so his
Here's the
favorite
thing.
worst.
I feel like a lot of these to him are completely forgettable.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, I think
I think he likes
I think-
Annihilation.
I think Glass is gonna be his
Glass
favorite.
actually probably is
Yeah.
the top of the
I
bottom.
think Glass is the top of the
Annihilation,
bottom.
Glass.
I don't think I think Annihilation's in the middle of
And-
his 2.5s.
8th grade for me.
With what's this one?
Zardos in 8th
Sorry.
grade.
Oh god.
Which are
Here's the funniest thing.
So
Dog
what's
shit.
the bottom of this?
I think 8th
though?
grade is going to be higher than I
already saw Flipped at the
expect,
bottom.
just because of the competition. Sucker Punch is going to be up.
I
in
can
the
tell you right now,
highest, too.
Brokeback's down there.
Well, so to
He
me,
was
Yeah.
emotional.
to
Oh,
me
on
yeah.
that
Sucker
one.
Punch is one of the ones that he probably doesn't even remember.
No, he doesn't remember. That's why it's going to be higher though.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I
just
think
because he's
that's-
trying to like just get it on there.
Without
Yeah.
looking, I'm so certain
Yeah.
that Glass is number
All right,
one.
I've got it.
Go.
All right, you want which way you want it?
Give us your best to worst.
Best to worst.
Yeah.
Number 1 going down. Annihilation.
Yes.
Ah.
Glass.
Yes.
Raging Bull.
Fuck
What?
What?
8th grade.
Pause. Raging Bull is your third favorite of all.
Compared to the rest of these, yeah, Raging Bull is very
It
memorable.
was black and white.
And like I
It
can
was
remember that.
shit.
I don't care if it's black and
They used
white.
He
they
beat
used
his wife
chocolate syrup. He beat
constantly.
I care
wives.
about both. All right.
Oh my god, we're gonna get
was
back to
great.
talking about that.
Raging Bull, 8th grade, Muppets, Sucker Punch, Queen of the Damned, Sound of Metal, In Bruges, Brokeback, Zardos, Flipped.
Thank you, Flipped. All right.
All right.
Can you erase some of those?
What?
You only need 6 for these next couple.
Okay.
Or basically the rest of them. There's actually a couple 2s and
Yeah.
1 5.
Oh
Uh-huh.
my god.
I know.
So the best
You,
of
you
the
don't
worst
like
of
my
the
low
worst.
scores, huh, Mason?
I don't
There's
like
just
them.
so many of them.
I wanted everyone else to scream at you too.
I mean, I
So
didn't.
so we're descending further.
I think
Yeah,
it's funny
so-
that
These are getting worse and worse. and worse
Raging
and
Bull got that much of a reaction.
Fuck
Yeah,
off.
the
That
fuck
movie
It's
you.
sucked.
Scorsese, like
No, that movie's
it's at
so-
least gonna be something.
That was our worst rated
Yeah.
movie for 1 week until another movie pops up.
Yeah.
What
which
was it?
is- I'll tell you in a minute.
You'll get there real quick.
Yeah.
Did I write it?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
did.
okay.
We all did
All right.
on this.
You ready to go?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right. You have for the 2s. You have Lawnmower Man,
Oh.
Clock Stoppers,
Oof.
Okay.
The Big Sick,
Now that's
What
one
an
that I've got.
undeserved
Oh
two.
my god.
Kingdom of Heaven,
I still love that clip.
Snow Queen.
We lost 8 of our final guys.
Snow
that day.
Queen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to talk about forgettable?
Yeah.
The outfit, and then that's it.
Well, how can you forget the girl with the knife?
Yeah.
I just
like,
remember her
threatening-
napping a lot.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's true. And then like she'd like turn them to ice
Going
with
down
little
memory-
ice shards.
Going down memory lane of 2.5s and below really just affirms to me Price doesn't know how to review
That's
movie
what I'm saying.
scores.
That's like
he just
not
gets
true.
mad.
Man, the
Uh-huh.
outfit though.
The
The
outfit-
outfit's a solid
the
movie.
outfit is one thing.
He's gonna put
Lawnmower Man
Clockstoppers #1 guaranteed.
It's easily.
It had Smash Mouth. in it.
Oh yeah, he 100%. I'm not.
When you were supposed to pick Shrek.
Yep.
You,
I
I'll
think
tell you
he,
right now. I think
he
out of
wants
spite.
sophisticated enough that he wants the outfit to be at the
No.
top.
I think out of spite he's gonna put it dead last.
Really?
I 100% do because we.
He'll
You
put
think
Kingdom of Heaven
Lawnmower
way
Man?
up there. I think he'll
Yes.
put Kingdom of Heaven.
I'll tell
for
you right. I'll tell you
Clockstoppers.
right now. This is a bottom 2 movie.
All right, you ready?
Alright, from the top. Kingdom of Heaven. Number 2, Clock Stoppers.
Yeah.
3, The Outfit. 4, Lawnmower Man. 5, Snow Queen. 6, The Big Sick.
You're
You're
intentionally putting all of mine last.
I don't remember that much about The Big Sick. I just remember like super hating that movie, and I just remember being angry the
I
whole
think
time.
it's probably because you didn't like the main character.
Yeah, you don't like people of color as the main character. That's true.
Which is just never mind. I'm not gonna capitalize on that.
You would have
It
gotten roasted.
Kingdom of Heaven, like I remember, like it had like cool sets and stuff.
Yeah,
and
it was a neat like.
Oh yeah.
like not being memorable was like a huge thing.
All right, top 6 again.
Oh boy.
All
For
right.
1.5.
How unfair these are. Hold
You
on,
got-
you gotta let them write it out. You gotta let one through.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah.
You have Repo, the genetic opera.
How undeserved.
to the side.
That should be lower.
Excalibur.
That should be lower.
No.
Oh my.
Oh wait, you haven't even heard
This-
anything
this-
yet.
All right, I already
Best
got
one.
my
This
6.
is the best one.
Brick.
I didn't realize you gave freaking Guns Akimbo
Guns Akimbo?
a 1.5.
Guns Akimbo.
I don't
He keeps
remember why I
sweet
did that.
At World's End or The World's End. It's the bar hopping movie
Yeah.
with aliens.
With Simon Pegg.
Apparently, I hated that one.
And Sweeney Todd.
I like that you say apparently, as if you had no idea how you would score
Here's
this
the
movie.
thing:
now.
the 1.5s to me are a whole
Oh.
cluster of movies that deserve to all be much higher.
Yes,
I
like
agree.
This
some
is a
of these
category
I could understand,
100%.
but this one somehow I feel like it's in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Right, this feels like this would be a 6.5s by any
I
other
agree.
standards means.
And
but,
I agree.
But here we are, entertaining Price Bell.
I think #1's got to be like
Number 1
Guns
has to,
Akimbo.
it has to be Kimbo.
Yeah.
Or Sweeney Todd.
No, I actually think it's
he,
World's-
I
I
feel
think
like he
World's
made a
End was gonna
mistake
go
there.
Joanna.
Where are you?
I know. Here, I'll tell you the last 2 right here. The musicals. It's gonna go Sweeney
Yeah.
Todd into Repo.
I don't know.
I don't
But
think
unless Brick is the very bottom.
No, he'll put Brick.
Brick-
because
I
it's
feel like
mine.
Brick
might be
is
the bottom.
Brick is the bottom. I thought I gave that a 0. I can't believe I gave it a 1.
I
1.5.
sir. All
I
right.
brought this whole thing into fruition, and
take
I'm
us
getting
From the top, is it World's End or is it?
It's Guns Akimbo, then World's End.
Okay, I would have.
Then the rest of them, I wish I could give 0s.
Oh.
Sweeney Todd was 3,
Okay.
Repo, Excalibur, then Brick.
All right.
Sweeney Todd.
I can't believe
I'm
I
just
gave.
glad that you've held on to your hatred for Excalibur as long as you have, because you have really
I
detested
hate
that movie.
What a shame that movie.
That's why when you said I gave it a 1.5, I was like, wow, I was
You wanna-
generous.
You want to talk about some forgetful movies?
Uh oh.
I mean,
Oh boy.
Patrick Stewart's in there.
See,
man.
this is a
That's-
this is a
that's
movie where I can
really-
see forgetfulness.
All right,
Could
ready
have
to
had Will
rock?
Ferrell and I wouldn't have cared.
All right, you ready?
All right, we got The Fountain.
Uh-huh.
You've got Space Sweepers. That's the one with the little Korean girl.
The
if I'm not
poop, the
mistaken.
one that where they make
The
poop
pigs.
jokes.
No, that's
No,
Space
no,
Truckers.
that's Truckers.
Yeah,
sorry.
This one was the Netflix one. It
This
The
was
is
Korean.
the
one.
Cowboy Bebop Korean looking one.
Yeah, they,
Yeah.
they make poop jokes all the time.
I don't
I
remember.
don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Green Knight,
Oh, what a
Oh.
good movie.
Willy's Wonderland,
Another great
Banger.
movie.
The Postman, which does not get enough recognition,
Banger.
Fuck you.
And-
you scored that so unnecessarily.
and Money
high.
Plane.
You gave Money Plane a 1?
These
Bro,
ones,
I'll
I
tell you
feel
right now
good
what's at the
about
top
these
of the list.
ones.
I'm confident this is the favorite.
No, I'm going.
No question.
I'm going this one.
You think?
Yeah, I'm going. I'm going.
I actually, you're
That
probably
one
right.
right
You're probably
there.
right, but I think this should be number 1.
What's the bottom?
The
though?
bottom right there.
Oh, it's mine. Is mine
It's-
even in there?
It's right there.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, this is yours
yeah,
too, because this is
he
one you
is
picked
probably
from.
going to put Green Knight
That's
on the
gonna
bottom.
be Green Knight's bottom.
I feel
The
very.
Fountain
Bryce,
is
how are you
also
gonna
a
do this?
top
These should be
contender.
ones.
None of these are mine. How you gonna put the bottom one?
No, the Fountain is. Oh no, Fountain was
No,
Nathan's.
none of
That's
mine
right.
are in here.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry.
This is
Nathan
almost
will pick mine up.
entirely 5
This is
of
a
the
top
6
two,
for me.
This is
Damn.
Yeah, I know. It's funny that 5 and then it's my money
That was
plane.
yours, which might be number 1.
I-
Go
I'm
ahead,
s-
Bryce.
I'm so-
One was Willie's, then Postman, Money Plane, Space Sweepers, Green Knight, The Fountain.
The
Green
Fountain
Knight,
was last
Fountain.
on this.
I
one.
feel very confident about those
think,
ones.
I think he's just extra spiteful about the fountain.
He is.
In particular.
He's
Because
been
it was
pretty
picked
hot
in
on it
particular for
all
him.
year.
The soundtrack,
And it was
though.
picked for me.
Yeah.
And then I've watched that review recently, and Nathan's like, I don't know why I picked this one for you. I feel like you've seen everything you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I figured I would try to wow you with something. Alright, this is an easy one too.
Yeah, this is a very
This is
short
just
You
list.
just verbalize this.
This is
Yeah.
a 0.5. Okay, this is what Price gave a
Okay.
0.5. Okay.
Okay.
Never back down. And
0.5
Wizards
is
of the
good.
Lost Kingdom. The
That's the
Chewbacca
Wiz-
guy.
the
Wizards,
Chewbacca.
Wizards won.
Get the
never
fuck
back down
out.
second.
You're
I
so
figured you'd
fucking
do that.
cracked. Shut
2,
up.
I gave it a 0.5 solely for the soundtrack. And that was it.
Which one? Never back down?
Never back down.
Yeah.
Wizards
That's-
was like at least like pretty funny. I love the
Well,
Chewbacca.
I think I can round out the rest of this list being at the bottom because
It is
here
all
are
your-
the zeros.
Is
Are you
it all
ready?
your
Yeah.
picks except for Fritz? I
Just
think that's-
about.
Isn't Nathan?
No, that one's yours. That one's.
Oh,
Nathan's.
yeah, no,
But
that
I've got
that's
3
fine.
out of the 5.
Yeah.
You've got 3 out of 5.
All right,
yeah,
so you
that's
got
all right.
Frontiers.
Yep.
You've got Fritz the Cat.
oh my god.
You've got Enemy, the spider movie.
Oh
Talk about
my
movies that
God.
don't deserve a 0.
Past Lives. I know.
Alright. Another movie that
And
deserves a 0.
you know,
You're
just
so-
a little
you're
ditty
so
we
wrong.
called Possum.
Deserved a 0. That movie's so fucking
That
bad.
movie was bad. Let me go ahead and tell you what his number 5 is on that one.
Yeah, I'll tell
Yeah,
you.
it's
Yeah.
awesome.
I don't know though. Fritz the cat was
These
pretty
4
fucked.
Fritz the Cat was at least animated.
All of
We were
these
able
are
to, like,
absolute
watch it.
garbage tier. I don't want to rank any of these.
That's what I'm talking about.
Possum's
Do
the-
it.
Do
Howard.
it! You have to do
Do
it!
it.
Possum's the worst, and then
Tell me what your
Yeah.
favorite one of that bullshit is.
Yeah.
which favorite pile of shit is my favorite
Yeah.
pile
Yeah.
of shit?
Which
Pick
one's
your favorite child.
Which one stinks the less
Like
or has
I
the
at
best
least
color?
I feel look at all these. I'm like these are all zeros. Like I'm
I
glad
don't
I,
care. You
gave
still have
these
to pick 'em.
zeros.
So
Alright.
we know that Possum is the worst of the worst. Thank
Yes,
you.
Nobody's fighting that.
All right, I think I got
If he
it.
puts past lives
I think
at
Fritz is
3rd
the,
or less,
the 4th to last.
3rd or higher, he has to
Third,
retroactively
fourth.
give it a point.
Oh, I was wrong.
First, I've got Frontiers because at least it's memeable and I can remember like that's
Yeah,
pretty
the-
funny.
So many guns.
Then Fritz just because like it's
Go ahead.
doing something I guess. 3 Past Lives because it's just dry as all hell and is garbage.
retroactively give it a point.
And Enemy because it's just like it had 2 Jake Gyllenhaals. It should have been good. But at the end of the day, it's just like you think you know what's going on, then there's just a spider, and you're just like why? Why did
It was
I
a cherry
spend?
on top.
why
You know,
did
like
I-
banana split.
Why did I spend my time with this movie? It was so pointless. And then 5 was obviously Possum,
Yeah, well.
the worst movie
That-
we
that
have
movie
seen.
Well,
sucks.
you can't win them all.
I feel like if we all did this, that would probably round out the bottom of our list.
Is Possum the worst one you all think is the worst movie?
That
we've
or
ever
Raging
watched?
Bull for me.
Oh, worst movie I've ever watched versus what?
Birdemic?
Oh, Yes.
Worst movie
Birdemic is
ever.
the worst movie we've
Okay,
ever
yeah.
Yeah, in
Like,
this
if we're
group.
talking worst movie I've
In
ever
this
watched,
group
I've
specific,
seen
it's
the worst
Possum.
movie.
So you're saying Possum is worse than Birdemic?
By a lot.
Birdemic, like, it's
Or sorry,
memeable.
Birdemic is worse than Possum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
flip.
Birdemic is memeable, and in this group it does matter.
That
but
does
like,
matter. Well, for whatever reason, it brings a little. charm to it.
The birds becoming airplane bombers is
and, like,
iconic.
spitting out green Gatorade or something.
Yes.
See, okay, but I'm not memeing on even the scenes. I'm memeing because we're funny and because Nathan literally did a bird edit that was better than the ones in the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I meme out of
Yeah.
it. None of the movie is anything that I'm like, oh, I even found this funny to like make fun, laugh at.
But
Not
every
even
time you
with.
think of it, like 30 years from now, when Griff is long gone, you're gonna think of Birdemic and be like, "That's the movie that my
That
dog
goddamn
hated."
hyped up.
The joke here is you think Griffin's gonna
Possum
die in
is
30
the lowest
years.
score
That's a
I've
good
given.
point.
Yeah,
What is
Possum's
17?
rough. It's
Huh?
it's
Like,
hard to redeem that.
I've not
No,
given
16.
anything a 0. I gave Possum a 1, and the only other movies I gave close to that was like Tim and Eric's. I gave it 1.5.
Yeah.
Undeserved.
You know what? I would love to send all of our scores into like some sort of like data place, and then have them make like 6 or 7 graphs of like here's what's true based on this.
I did that
Oh,
before.
yeah.
Remember those like graphs I made?
Yeah,
Of our...
I want to like it's
Yeah.
like
So,
based on preferences.
in-
Dylan
in
and
the
Mason's.
spreadsheet, we
Yeah.
have
A little
that
bit of
data.
that. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we have like
Like
certain
what you
breakdowns
normally
and stuff.
rank
I know we had a
by.
little bit. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
the main one was like,
The
all right, who
thing
do we
is,
preference? But I like
As
graphs.
things have gone on, we have gravitated to like the mean. Like
Yes.
there's a mean average that we have hit,
and it
across
doesn't
the
really
board.
do anything.
So
with
like the
each
numbers
choice.
become less significant as time goes on.
Right.
Yeah.
Which proves the nihilist, right? Is that everything's meaningless because the more you do a thing, the more just conglomerate.
I mean, we've been doing this like 6 years. No, 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Let's not exaggerate.
No,
Yeah.
oh, 1
It's only
year.
a handful of
Apologies.
years.
All
So,
right.
so our end of season bonus video is going to be me doing an exit interview, right?
Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll have to tie you up to a chair. It
Yeah.
won't be an interview, it'd be an
It'll
interrogation.
be, yeah, it'll be
That's
more like
okay.
a hostage situation.
How are you with bags and water?
Yeah.
Oh, great! I can carry a bunch of them.
But
Yeah, your toe.
well, this is
Wow.
Price's last season. The show must go on, and we
Yeah.
have to figure out what
I
to
give
do
this
with
What's
podcast-
happening next?
This, this movie may not be a 10, but we are. And on next season, we're going to go ahead and spin and see what we got going on then. Fun
yeah?
fact, we'll have some new hosts then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will. You may see some different initials on there.
It's true.
You may not see any more peanut butter.
That
No more
allows-
peanut butter?
Wait, what if it's one of their movies?
Well, then they'll...
Well, I mean,
Oh.
they're gonna be in it, you know.
It's
it's
not.
not!
Oh, it's my movie. Dinosaurs. What was the movie I was going to pick for
Just
this show?
dinosaurs?
So my hints to that was dinosaurs. And I'm trying really hard to remember. Hold on.
Asterisks.
I have to look it back up.
We're doing.
I got
Those
you.
are my slices.
I think you're actually right.
Oh.
No, you are right. It is We're Back at Dinosaur Story. It 100%
On
is.
VHS.
No, it 100%
Yeah,
is. It's
so-
on my... Hold
There
on.
we go.
That third one's interesting. I wouldn't have expected that from
yeah,
you.
'cause I was
love that
like-
movie.
I was like, it's not Land Before Time, but I remember
He
thinking...
straight up has
It is
picked
Web-
this movie.
Wait, what is that? I
We're
want to
back.
see
A
this.
Dinosaur Story is how we're starting off next
You're
season.
picking this one. I'm not here.
It's why we're picking. It's all of our picks were ones that we
I
thought you would
hate
hate to
you.
miss.
Does Petrie
No,
show
that's
up in this one?
No. he-
This is
No,
an
you're
hour and
mercy.
11 minutes.
Yes. It's a quick breeze.
You're trying to shoot for my lowest
Runtime?
runtime movie.
No,
aren't
we
you?
can't. We can't beat 40.
Featuring the voices of John Goodman,
Yeah.
Jay
Yep.
Leno,
Yep. The
Ray
big
Perlman,
T-Rex.
Walter Cronkite, Martin Short, and Julia Child.
You'll fall in love with the girl in that one. If you're a kid.
Whoa.
Yeah. This is a banger movie. I cannot wait to talk
yeah,
about.
I thought that was a joke whenever I went over to grab that.
No, I'm so glad you did because I was literally like, I'm just straight up
Just
blanked on the
blank.
name. I was like, what is the name of that movie?
I tell you
And
what,
it is well, and here's the world winner right here.
Steven Spielberg.
presents We're Back, a Dinosaur Story. Is how we're starting off season. I don't know what number we're
I'll
on.
make sure I keep sending you my scores to keep the spreadsheet.
Yeah,
intact.
This is a VHS.
Correct.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch it on this VH. We have.
Look,
do we have
I'm trying to get a VHS player.
Just to
Actually, I was
watch it.
just asking somebody about one today.
This movie's
You
so
gotta
fun.
get it before next week.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah, apparently
I'll
I
tell
do.
you, I had this movie and the VHS does not work because I watched it
Someone
so
did not
much.
rewind.
Oh
that,
my
that,
god.
That seems about right.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Always
yeah.
be kind and rewind.
Anyways, if you enjoyed the content we're doing, let us know in the comments below. What did you think? Did the addict stay and his girlfriend stay together? Did he just kill himself?
Yeah, maybe he did.
What do you think happened at the end of that
After
movie?
paying $40,000+.
If there's something you
Yeah.
want to tell Price on specific for his last episode, let him know in the comments below. He may be back eventually sometime in the future. We'll see.
If it's a movie that seems tailored to me, like this one.
Like We're Back, a Dinosaur Story? I don't know why you would like this.
It's just a ploy to get you to come back next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can. We don't have room on the couch. Jill and Annabeth will both be here.
That's
so.
true. There'd be a lot of people.
Well,
Yeah.
and for those wondering, we had to bring 2 women in to replace Price.
Because 2 women are worth 1 man.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
actually be on screen.
Ooh, Jill.
I didn't say it. Wow. This just proves women hate women. Anyways, guys, let us know in the comments below what you think on everything. If you want to hit the bell, this is your last chance to hit it in
Last
person.
chance.
And then otherwise, I gotta start hitting people and just making that noise or something. Like,
Yeah.
To
Ding!
buy an actual bell.
oh
Hit that
God.
rectum.
Yeah, hit that rectum. Yeah,
Hit that girl.
hit that woman. Make sure to hit your women at home.
Raging Bull was his favorite. He said
Well,
it so
we did
himself.
say it was his
Yeah,
favorite,
they
and we-
gave it high marks.
We're clipping that.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, until next season, we'll see you then. One child more. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I also noticed that I gave a lot of stuff like 1 or 1.5 when it should have been 0.
No,
Like
shut up.
like
Shut up.
You would've been